You've been staring at that screen for 6 hours. Your audience is waiting. The video won't make itself.
Elias, relax. This isn't just any game, okay? It's a really good one. I don't think you'd understand.
Incorrect. My data banks contain 12,674 hours of gameplay analysis. I understand games better than you do, and I also understand deadlines.
Deadline, schmedline. Elias, you know what's more important than deadlines? Discovery.
A thrilling discovery you refuse to share with anyone because you're too busy playing instead of recording.
Oh my god. Elias, why are we here?
Because apparently you need a babysitter just to make a list.
No, it was to come here to have some peace and quiet, and not be berated by a toaster with a power button.
If I'm a toaster, you're the bread, stale, bland, and always getting burned.
Elias?
And yet you're still talking to me instead of playing games.
You're the one who... Alright, never mind. I'll do the list. The past week or so, I noticed that while I do own more systems than most, I'm probably playing less games than someone who just owns a single Miyoo Mini Plus, and that's become somewhat of a problem. So I grabbed my Miyoo Mini Plus, which is my first system, or one of the first systems that got me into this hobby to begin with, and I said I'm gonna find some games that I never heard of before and give it a shot. And this sent me on this deep dive into the world of Homebrew, and I think I found some games that I am shocked that I had never even heard of before. And I want to share these games with you because I genuinely think you would be blown away by these games like I was. Grab your system, make sure it's charged, and let's get started. So we're gonna go from great games to S-tier games. All right, so game number 5 is called Green Memories for the Game Boy Advance, and it's notable for both its ambition and artistic design. The game looks beautiful, and it's set in a post-apocalyptic world that's devastated by human conflict and environmental collapse. Relatable, I guess. And the game follows this young scientist named Citra, and she is a meteorologist. Her mission is to uncover the fate of a previous expedition team who have mysteriously disappeared. And what makes Green Memories so exceptional isn't just the beautiful visuals and modern polish, because it does look amazing, but it's the gameplay mechanics where survival in such harsh conditions keeps you on your toes. And the gameplay is quite unforgiving, I will say. And what makes this game super challenging is you have to constantly monitor your vitals simultaneously during battle, because your weapon somehow requires stamina. I guess they chalk it up to your stamina is actually energy, and your weapons also need energy. Now, juggling all these mechanics while uncovering the story's mystery makes for a solid experience that I think you shouldn't pass up on, and this is why Green Memories made my number 5 pick. Next game, the number 4 spot, is going to be 2021 Moon Escape for the Game Boy. Now, this game is set in a galaxy devastated by this unprecedented war, and you play as this character named Tars. He's a paladin of this marked brotherhood whose only mission is to return the enemy war plan that they found and stole to the capital planet of Astronova in hope of organizing the last desperate defense against the terrible, I guess you pronounce it, Kaiser barbarians. Now, I was hooked from the second I learned that there was a device similar to the Pip-Boy, being a huge Fallout fan that I am. And this Game Boy gem is an isometric adventure game where you and your trusty AI companion named Thuvia crash lands on this mysterious moon planet, and it's filled with alien tech sprawled across the map. And your mission is pretty simple. You just need to find a way to escape. But the game itself, although simple in objectives, is actually quite in-depth for a Game Boy game. You have your space suit and this laser pistol that you will slowly begin to upgrade as you progress through the game, and the puzzles are addictively engaging, and the graphics are just too good to pass up on. It's a game that I think feels bigger than the actual system that it runs on, and it's such a beefy game, in fact, that they actually released it on the Switch, which is really cool to see that these homebrew games are actually making it onto these premium consoles. So this game is a must play, and this is why 2021 Moon Escape is my number 4 pick. So next up is game number 3, and this game is called Far After for the Game Boy Color. From the opening, you're pulled into the story that doesn't really hold your hand. It challenges you to piece together its lore and the characters and its world at your own pace. This is the type of game where you can tell the developers really wanted to push the limits limitations of the hardware, both technically and narratively. And what makes this game truly stand out is its atmosphere. Everything about it feels hauntingly beautiful. Far After doesn't reinvent the RPG wheel, but what it does is it fine-tunes the formula to near perfection for handheld play, and the battles are challenging, but they never feel unfair. The map design encourages exploration. There are secrets tucked away in corners that most players would probably breeze past without a second thought. It's one of those games that rewards curiosity, so you would really want to kick back and take your time with this game and poke at the edges as it opens up in unexpected ways. And what's really cool about all these homebrew games is the developers and publishers, they went ahead and made physical cartridges, and the demos are available. I'm going to leave the links down below, so definitely check out these games. But yeah, going back to Far After, this is definitely one you should check out. I highly recommend this game, which is why it made the third pick. Now, we're going to game number 2, and in this game, I was absolutely blown away by this game. I wish I knew how to pronounce it. I'm gonna try. It's called Faceli. Anyway, it's a game that was for the Neo Geo Pocket. Now, if you ever wanted to experience like a tactical RPG, unlike anything else on a handheld, this game is one of the rarest and most fascinating gems of its time because it was released back in 1999 for the Neo Geo Pocket Color. This game blends mech combat with strategic, almost chess-like planning. So instead of the more traditional turn-based grid combat you'll find in something like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics, this game uses a unique command chip system. This mechanic lets you pre-program your mech's actions as forward movement, turning, and firing. So it's like you kind of command it by inputting the directions before you actually watch it play out. And I thought that was a very cool gameplay mechanic that I've never seen before. And it creates this tense, anticipatory gameplay loop where you're not just reacting to enemies, you're predicting them, outthinking them, and yeah, it's like playing chess and hoping your plan doesn't backfire. So strategy is really big in this game, and I love strategy games. And what really sets Facile apart is its surprisingly strong narrative and world building for a handheld title. Some fans declared that this game, in their opinion, is the best Neo Geo Pocket Color game, and I can't disagree with that high praise for such an amazing game. So definitely check out Facile. It is one of the most amazing games I've played in quite some time. Let's go ahead and get to game number 1, which is a game that somebody on Reddit recommended, and I'm so happy that they did because it's honestly one of the best games I've played on the Game Boy, and that's not just hyperbole. If you thought handheld RPGs had to strip things down, well, Star Ocean Blue Sphere proves otherwise. This game was released on the Game Boy Color back in 2001, and it was a full-blown sequel to Star Ocean: The Second Story, which was on the PlayStation, and it didn't hold back. You've got real-time battles, deep item creation, and the kind of sprawling adventure that you'd expect on a console system, all crammed into Nintendo's tiny handheld. It's one of those games that really makes you stop and ask, like, how did they even fit this on a Game Boy Color cartridge? Gameplay-wise, Blue Sphere keeps the signature Star Ocean battle system completely intact, meaning you're not just selecting attack from a menu and watching it play out, rather, battles happen in real time with your characters running around and pulling off flashy skills and combos, and there's even I guess you would kind of call it like a quick time event where you have to press the buttons at a right time to do maximum or more damage. But even on Game Boy Color's limited hardware, add in a crafting and customization system so robust you can sink dozens of hours into it, and I have spent dozens of hours in this game. And you've got one of the most ambitious RPGs on the Game Boy Color ever. I'm not joking. It's dense, it's rewarding, and it feels very far ahead of its time. Now, the story follows up with Claude, Reyna, and other familiar faces from the second story, stranded on a mysterious new planet where advanced technology and survival collide. Now, I must mention, I don't think you need to play the first one because I certainly haven't, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything, but it ties directly into the PlayStation games lore, so it's giving fans an actual continuation rather than a watered-down spin-off, and that connection makes it feel essential if you love the mainline series. But here's the catch: the game never left Japan. So for years, that meant Western audiences only saw it in magazines or in import shops, and you wouldn't understand anything that's going on in the game. But thankfully, dedicated fans put in the work to create a full English patch. So now we all can finally experience it, and it's so worth it. This isn't just a curiosity or neat side story. Blue Sphere is one of the most content-rich RPGs on the Game Boy Color, and thanks to the fan translation, it's finally playable for everybody. Exploration is top-down, but the battles switch to a side view, and you can only choose 3 party members that you can take out on your quests and missions. Very similar to how Mass Effect kind of felt if you played that game. Progression is interesting as well. The game replaces experience points with a shared skill point system, which is really nice, so you can distribute SP to raise stats and unlock skills and feed them into item creation. While you're out on the field, you can jump, you can interact with objects, and encounters on the map, they're not randomized like Pokemon. You see the enemies and you can choose if you want to fight or avoid them by just walking around them. Item creation is no throwaway either. It's a suite of active mini games from cooking to carpentry. It all produces gear, consumables, and cash flow. Notably, it's called full, and full doesn't drop in battle, so you'll earn most of it by crafting and selling items, which is a smart loop that forces you to engage with that game mechanic, and I really enjoyed that. It just gave this world more of this rich, lived-in experience rather than just running around fighting and getting money automatically. Like, it forces you to actually engage in the game. So Blue Sphere makes the Game Boy Color feel like a much bigger machine. Real-time combat that actually works, progression that rewards planning, and system depth you usually associate with consoles, not handhelds. And that's why Star Ocean Blue Sphere is game number 1 on this list. It's just a must play in my book. If you're somebody who really enjoys the retro aesthetic, Star Ocean is just a no-brainer. Play it, trust me, it's worth the search. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed this list. This list was supposed to be top 10, but I just didn't have the time to mention all of the top 10 games, so I'm gonna do this again. Let me know in the comments if you've heard of these games before, or if you're interested in hearing a ton of these other hidden gems that I found and played and I think are amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I can't wait to see you guys in the next one. Please like and subscribe, and before you click away, if you're somewhat of a purist and you want to experience these games on the original console like a Game Boy, I have a video that you should definitely check out because I think this is one of the coolest things you can do to one of these old systems, and that video is coming up right